Welcome back to the Telosive EV podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a full panel for you today. Lots of questions, lots of things to catch up on. Specifically, Randy, we missed you last week, and for the EV ranking in the U.S. How you been? How's the Tesla?
Wow.
How's
Has
it
it been
treating
that
you?
long?
Yeah,
it's been
it's
that
been a
long.
while.
I miss you
Wow.
guys. Nick, I haven't
Wow.
seen you in. I feel like I'm seeing an old friend. I want to hug
Dude,
you right
I
now.
know.
I miss you.
Oh, me too. Aw.
Yeah. But
Miss you, Betty.
how's the Tesla? Tesla's doing good, guys. I'll tell you this right now. Small update, which is no update at all. Tesla keeps moving my appointment about fixing my windshield. It's annoying.
They've moved it again since
Yes.
last time?
Yes,
Oh my god.
and
Wow.
my wife is struggling to keep up now because like we have to coordinate drop off and her come pick me up when she she has to work around her time getting off of base and stuff like that to come get me. So I'm reaching out to Tesla and I'm like, guys, you gotta stop doing this, man. Like I have logistics to figure out here, and it's throwing the wrench in, and it was again last minute. So slight behind the scenes stuff. You know how we were planning to record on a different day this week. I had scheduled my appointment to then fill in for this slot because they had an opening. So for today at this time, I was like, cool, I could drop it off then, and it won't interfere with recording. But they moved it. We ended up making this work anyway. Everything just kind of worked itself out.
So it's not my fault.
It's always your fault, Drew.
Of course it's your fault.
I think Drew needs a recall.
But
Tesla sucks and it's Drew's fault.
Drew's quality control is not good right now.
I'm made in Fremont.
Fremont.
He's on the beta right now.
How do you guys feel
Wow.
about taking any type of deliveries in Texas now instead?
Oh, so I texted Nick the second I got
did.
this, even though I was technically on stage. I'm in this like local production, and you're not supposed to have phones. So, but I had my phone in my pocket, and I had some spare time. So I checked Twitter, and it was like 20 minutes ago. Someone said, if you have a Model Y reservation and you're in the Austin area, you can accelerate delivery and get a 4680 model. I was like, so I texted him right away, and then what happened, Nick?
Well, it's quite unfortunate, but I'm not in the Austin area, so there was nothing for me to do.
You're not, but you're in Texas. It obviously
in
means
my-
that you're there.
Last I checked,
my
Texas
monkey
is
brain,
a little
that's all
bit
Texas.
bigger than just
Right?
Austin, but
Very small state. Austin is
Yeah.
the
basically
In my
entire-
Vermont.
mind, you're just in southern Austin because all of it doesn't matter after
And-
that.
and
It's
in my
all
mind-
Austin.
And in my mind, Randy, you're just in eastern San Diego right now.
I mean, you couldn't really tell by the background.
My continuity tries to stay strong here. Yeah.
I see the tears. I see the tears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So,
now
I wish you
there's-
could do it though. It'd be so
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, it would be. It would be. I'm on the fence on whether or not I would do it if I had the opportunity to. But I don't know.
I
It would be
would.
cool.
Are you
Why
trying
are
to?
you on the fence?
Yeah. Why are you trying to? Why are you trying to?
Well, I mean, the cost difference isn't that much because I'm sure they're all going to have FSD on it, and it's like, well, at that point, oh really?
No, they didn't. Yeah, all
Aren't they all in
the
the
ones
used?
that were offered. No, it wasn't used. It was like you go to the your account page with your reservation, and then there would be a little tab that says accelerate delivery from choose from existing inventory. And the people that did click it got like 3 or 4 options, but none of them had FSD. I think one had a tow hitch, and one was like blue instead of white, and one had 20-inch wheels. But I'm sure they're all cheaper than your performance.
Okay.
That's for sure.
Well, interesting. I was just assuming that it would come with FSD there, because
Yeah.
that's what they like to do to
Me
you.
too. I would have thought that would accelerate delivery by buying this $70,000 standard range Model Y.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think it'd be cool, but I'm definitely seeing more around Starbase just at work. Like I've noticed a ton of more Model Ys. Of course, they don't have a big logo on it that says Standard Range Model Y from Giga Austin, but there's just
True.
a ton of brand new Model Ys, probably like a half a dozen or a dozen of them that you just see driving around. They're all SpaceX vehicles, and they don't have the performance brakes, but they have like I don't know. They just look new, and I know they're
Yeah,
new.
you can
as in
tell.
they just came from somewhere, and I'm fairly certain they came from Austin, because they all have like Texas manufacturer plates on them, and it's like, maybe you were from somewhere.
It's that cross pollination from
So
Austin
Nick,
to Starbase and back.
There's still a chance
Yep.
that you would get your wife from Texas, right?
Well, the
It's pretty low at
delivery
this
window
point.
did update for me yesterday, and I was like,
Oh.
perfect timing.
Is it good or bad?
It was
What's
good.
the damage?
It was
Ooh.
good. The soonest day went backward, like further in time, but the furthest day came closer. So it's a smaller window. Previously,
Oh,
it was like a
interesting.
month-long window. I think now it's down to 2 weeks. But my app is not refreshing, and I'll close it. And
Mine didn't change. That's
Yours
not
didn't
fair.
change, Drew? Oh, I'm sorry. All right, so now
Mine
says
hasn't
June.
changed either, unfortunately, but
Your
that's
Cybertruck.
okay.
I can't put in an order for a Cybertruck anymore, so mine kind of changed.
Yeah. That's a bummer. So mine's June 8th.
Where are
through
you living?
June 22nd now. So we'll see.
Oh, okay. Getting narrower sounds like a good thing.
Yeah, it does. And that's like a month away still. It keeps being a month away.
What do you guys think of Tesla's approach of? I mean, we kind of predicted like the existing inventory type approach, but actually just limiting it to Model Y reservations within the Austin area. Do you think like they'll increase that radius over time? Like, okay, now anyone in Texas can accelerate delivery, and then maybe Nick could, or do you think it'll just be in the Austin area, and then they'll update the configurator for everybody?
I hope they expand it.
Well, I'm sure they will eventually. It's a matter of when, not if.
I don't know.
But it's
I hope that's
a matter
the next
of how
thing.
much.
But
Do
selfishly,
you
it's
think
because
it would
I
be
want Nick to get
statewide
his,
or just
Oh.
everywhere?
No, not everywhere.
Wow.
Not everywhere because Fremont is still doing its thing. So
Yeah, it was easy with the Model 3 because it was only really coming from one location in the United States, at least. So you knew when it was
True.
going from the Standard Range Plus to the rear-wheel drive with the new chemistry, there was at least some transition there that you could go from kind of limiting it through the new, existing order or something like that, to slowly ramping it out to, all right, everyone gets this version, where right now we've got Fremont and Giga Texas making them. Giga Texas is slowly catching up, and what Tesla said before is Giga Texas is supposed to take over the eastern half of the United States while Fremont's
Right.
taking over the west.
That makes sense.
But it's what I think is they'll slowly get to the point where they'll increase the energy density of these batteries to match Fremont's, because it's kind of hard to. It'd be weird to allow everyone to order a Model Y and then disclose those from the middle of the United States to the east. Oh, yours isn't this range; it's actually this range. Or it also would make sense to have two different tiers that anyone could choose from, and then you have to kind of figure out, or at least Tesla has to figure out, all right, we have to send Model Ys up to Washington from Texas, while we've got Fremont ones going all the way to Vermont or something like that. That'd be a little bit too messy. So that's why I think this is just them slowly ramping it up and to increase deliveries of Texas and to master their manufacturing there. They're just staying with Texas. And then as they get better and as they feel more confident about the product, they'll start to increase the energy density to match Fremont's. And then it'll be kind of like the LFP Model 3. You'll have to kind of figure out whether you've got the 4680s or the 2170s. But there's not really that difference probably in charging to 100%, but there maybe is that difference in charging rate, but maybe people just won't notice that necessarily.
Sure.
That's my
That'd
theory.
be an interesting approach. I could see, because Elon did talk about getting rid of certain models to order. I was curious what you guys think about the concept of, if demand gets too high, should they just shut off orders entirely? And maybe the way they kind of spread out demand is they cancel, long range Model Y because it's booked out so far on the central to east coast, but they let you order the standard range all-wheel drive from Texas on the central to east coast, but you can still get long range on the west coast. So that way the factories kind of, cater to the demographic they're intended to serve.
The thing is, you'd have those factories run on all cylinders for a specific model, which is good because it means you get the most yield.
Come on, Mike.
What are those?
All watts.
Running
The batteries
on all
are
watts.
cylinders.
Oh,
okay.
that's true.
That's
oh
fair.
my god. Wow.
It's just not moving, or it is moving, just not moving the way that you think it's moving.
Good rebuttal. Good rebuttal.
Linearly.
But
Running on all cylindrical cells.
there you go. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's a kind of funny thing. Whenever a gas car like, oh, I have a 6-cylinder. Oh, I have an 8-cylinder. Oh, I have a 10-cylinder. You'd be like, I have like a 4,000 cylinder EV.
Rivian has like 7,700 cylinders.
So
That's
I
crazy.
think I don't think they should shut off orders. I don't think.
Oh.
Personally,
No
I
one
feel
does.
Like that's a. I know Elon might be open-minded to that, but I just don't know if that's a good idea. I mean, at this point, I mean, what's the soonest you can get an order to you now? It's push. I mean, I know how far it's pushed out until next year, sure, but like the soonest is probably.
The performance
end
still
of year
says
now,
July
isn't it?
through September. The Y.
July so through.
Pretty
So-
recently.
You like as a customer, you kind of know you're waiting. If you want to
Mhm.
get in on that line for the Tesla stuff, so I don't think it hurts any to just let them keep taking orders in. If they did turn off, like, it's not pre-order though. It's like it's a reservation. What you're turning off is your reservation. So, man,
They're locking in the price, I think, is the issue. When you put down your $250 non-refundable, you're agreeing to what the price is listed today. That's what I'll pay on delivery. So I think it's scaring them to lock in prices for vehicles that aren't going to be delivered for like a year or more.
I think that will drive up the sales of the used market more. Maybe increase the value of the used market
True.
more than
It
somebody.
has.
If somebody comes to me and says they'll give me 80, 85 for my Model 3, I might just rethink some things in my life.
Yeah, because you could get a brand new Model 3 for that, and still have some cash left over, and the compromise is you have to wait a while. You gotta wait a few months.
Sucks to work from home, doesn't it?
Right, exactly.
I was
Yeah, I
doing.
heard-
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
All right,
Oh, sorry.
I was doing this thing earlier this week, and it involved meeting a bunch of new people, and I forget.
He went
that
outside,
with-
ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
It's
no,
called
that-
going to the
it's-
grocery store.
I wish it was that simple. No, because even at the grocery store, anyway. Where I'm getting at is that people stop me about my car, and I forget that they're seeing
Yes.
it for the first time, and they're always like, "Wow, wow!" they're always stopping and looking like, "Holy smokes! How much did you pay for this thing? Is it a wrap? Is it a paint?" The guy's like, "I can't even tell." But and it's been the same set of questions again. I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember getting these questions years ago," and I always preface near the end, or I don't even. I forget to preface it, so I have to tell them at the end. It's like, this was all done pre-COVID. If I knew where I was gonna be today, this is not the path I would have taken. They're like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it is a bit overkill, isn't it? I'm like, yeah. So if somebody was to buy my car now, I'm not so married to it for the right price, and I would have no problems waiting because everything changed. When I think about who Randy was in 2019 with that desire of getting a Model 3, that Randy, little piece of him is somewhere in here. That little Anakin inside the suit is still there a little bit, but there is no conflict. I would sell it. I would do I would do it a whole different way now. So all that to say that I think maybe shutting off the pre-orders or the reservations, on the site would drive up the used market a little bit more, in a way that a lot of people might be. People will pay a premium to get their vehicle delivered now. Because then I entertained the conversations with these people. I said, all right, are you in the market? Well, let's just assume you are in the market. Mm-hmm. Would you rather pay more upfront now to get, say, a used vehicle, or would you rather pay a little bit now and you have to wait maybe about a year? And the guy and both guys told me, they're like, no, I wouldn't want to wait. If I'm ready to go, I'm ready to pull the trigger. So maybe that's me trying to survey random people who don't do tech for a living, that maybe that's the mindset for a lot of people, that they don't want to wait a year. They'll do what they got to do to get their hands on a car if they're in that demographic of buyers. But I think people will happily pay at that point. Maybe it's like, what's another 5,000 or 10,000 for me to just get it right now,
with gas at an all-time high.
Oh my goodness, guys! Out here is California prices. I can only imagine what you two are feeling back home. Oh my goodness!
Highest I've ever seen in my entire life. I've never seen it this bad.
It's pretty tough in the Bay Area. The truck's not really getting driven much anymore.
What's gas looking like in Texas?
Like $4 ish, maybe $4.10.
Yeah, same.
Oh, I miss those.
You poor soul.
I see $4.39. I go, oh.
I guess going back to what you're saying about your friends, Randy, or the people that you talked with, my friend who just got her Tesla Model 3 that I think talked about last week, she was asking me last night, because she was helping me with something, should I order another Tesla? I'm like, you already got yours. Why are you ordering another? She's like, well, you were telling me earlier that like delivery dates are pushed like a year for a lot of models, and just in case, and or if I want to earn a quick buck, I could just buy one and then sell it and get it for a pretty good price because I'm selling on the used market or whatever. And I'm thinking, well, it's an interesting investment, and if you want to, you can. It's not a bad idea, in assuming a lot of different factors are going to play into your hand, but it's tough, especially, I don't know.
I don't recommend that.
I don't, only because it's it's not even borderline. It is not grifting, but scalping, what we've seen with the Xbox Series X's and the PlayStation 5s.
Or baby formula.
That too.
Sounds like a dealer.
This feels like toilet paper all over again 2 years ago.
Hold on, are dealers just scalpers?
Pretty much.
Legalized.
Are you trying to sell me an
scalpers.
NFT here?
Yeah.
What's
Legalized
going on?
scalpers.
Interesting.
I mean, scalping is technically legal, so that's why I said unionized scalp. Because it's like, you can't get rid of them. Legacy Auto will get in trouble if they try to sell without the dealer. So they have to be there, and they have to put their markups on.
I don't know if I wasn't going with this. I wouldn't recommend it just as someone who is toying with the idea of like, oh, quick buck. Nothing's quick, man. Like that's volatility right there. That's risk. You have to front the cash for that, and for you to front at least $60,000, give or take, to make that happen, to possibly get a return on your investment. But again, I'm also a guy who won't flip a house and buy like a fixer-upper for the same reason. Like that type of liability, for the sake of trying to get a quick buck, I wouldn't recommend it. Now, Mike, if your friend is saying that they would use the second vehicle regardless, and it was already in their plan at some point, then sure, I'd say
that's
do
different.
that. But from the mindset of that, oh well, maybe I can sell it or whatever. Anyone who would offer me like $80,000 for the my Model 3 is it's circumstantial. That wasn't the plan. It's just a byproduct of the rest of the economy right now. But that I don't know. That makes me nervous.
Randy's dropping that price several times throughout the show. He's winking at the camera.
80.
So
would you believe me if I told you somebody offered me 75 and I told him no?
Did you counter with 80?
What about 105?
I was like, they're like, what's the lowest are you willing to go? What's the highest you're willing to spend?
I'm seeing this number come up several times. So
well, now that I got Yeah, now that I got an offer, 75.
Maybe it's worth
is chump
reserving a Model X before it gets taken off of the reservation list.
Oh.
Hey,
That's
listen.
exactly what Warren Redlich did. He basically wasn't really interested in the Plaid or even the Model X very much, but he noticed that the prices of the Model S long range and the Model S Plaid had gone up a lot, and the Model X Plaid had stayed the same price for a long time. And he was like, they haven't upped that one yet. Why? Why haven't they upped it? And I'm sure they will eventually. So he got in his order, and it was the correct assumption. It was before the price hikes. And now he's like, I have a appreciating vehicle that I'll be taking delivery of in the next few months, because he just kind of predicted there would be a price hike
How much did he lock in at?
I think at the time it was 120. Yeah, because the Model S and X Plaid were the same price for a
So
while.
120, or you can.
And now it's, I forget, 140 or something.
138,990.
So maybe
So-
he could. So one. Okay, so let's round somewhere in there. Someone's trying to pay maybe
Oh,
130 for
another
that.
difference. Back then he wanted the 5-seater because he was just trying to get the cheapest possible one. And then they said, we're just going to do the 6. So they offered him the 6-seater for no additional charge.
Wow.
So they threw in the 6-seat
Wow.
option, which is normally a
Wow.
$6,500 upgrade for free. So I was like, dang, that was... If you were going to buy a vehicle just for the flipping aspect, that was probably the best one to...
So you can
to
now
do it
pay
with.
140 for it, or you can give me 80 to 85, and I'm just gonna put that number out there for the rest of the show.
That's the thumbnail. Randy's Tesla
80.
has a price.
Dollar signs on his eyes or whatever. Or dollar sign grill. There we go.
Do you want this Tesla?
Well, look
That's a
out,
real show.
we'll get a copyright strike if we let Randy name things around here.
If we let Randy what?
Name things around here.
Oh,
We
oh
can
my
afford
goodness!
The
3? Okay.
we can.
Oh, you saw my email? You
Yeah.
saw that?
I'm sorry, bro.
Elon, man, buy YouTube, Elon.
What happened? What got striked?
I did a live stream yesterday talking about
Oh, I
Elon's
did
thing.
see that. Yeah.
This morning, I got an
it.
email from YouTube saying that they privatized my video and that something along the lines like, we did not strike your channel, but it could be spam, abusive, or I don't remember. They use all these weird
It's
verbiages. It's like
you
that.
you talked about Elon Musk. We don't like him anymore, so
Yeah.
here's a strike.
But it's not a strike.
That was really weird. I'd never seen that before. It wasn't like a copyright thing.
Our
And it
team
was
has
not,
reviewed your content, and we think you may need to make some changes to make sure it doesn't violate our spam, deceptive practices, and scams policy. In the meantime, we've made the following content private. Is Elon buying Twitter or no? So
And Randy,
we haven't
I did
applied a
watch that
strike to your
stream.
channel.
I
You
was
did or did
able to
not?
watch that stream. I
Okay.
couldn't watch it live, but I watched it like an hour later, and it was a good stream. And you didn't say anything in there that should have been like strikeable.
The closest thing was you probably trying to lure in bots for crypto scam or something like that, or trying to get a whole bunch of bots on Twitter.
That's
to
on
talk about-
Twitter.
No,
Yeah.
Exactly.
it was the bot that was looking. Okay, so I have this pet theory, guys.
Let's hear it.
Actually, this is for tech. Dang it! I'll save it for tech. I'm saving my
Okay.
pet theory for tech. Teaser
Well,
/ spoiler. Go watch the tech podcast. It's
There
a
you
good
go.
one.
Cool.
Back
we'll
in
talk
the
about it
land
later.
of EVs. Okay, so,
now
I've
I'm
been
just,
looking at
now
Rivian.
I'm just gonna go back to talking about which Logic Pro plugin is the best for electronic music. And I'm just gonna stay in my lane. I'm sorry for having
Speaking
an
about
opinion.
the Model X, I'm seeing a whole bunch of refreshed Model X's around the Bay Area now, more than I've seen the older version somehow.
Wow.
I think Tesla's really
That's awesome.
outputting these, which is pretty cool, but they are everywhere. I'm seeing them almost more than 50% of the time than the older version.
That's cool.
So
I can spec out a Model X with all the best features I can, and it'll be $161,000. And there's still no mobile connector included.
You can buy the whole company of Netflix with that.
Ooh. You could buy most
out
of the
the
stock
entire
market
brand.
with that amount of money these days.
That's the
It's like,
entire market
I would
cap
like
of the
43%.
You
Nasdaq.
can
9%
own
of the S&P
9.2% of something.
Oh, speaking of, how messed up did you think it was that they booted Tesla from the
Dude,
S&P 500
the
ESG thing?
it's I don't even know where to begin. It's all politically motivated. Like, I'm sorry, dude. Like, what the hell? Like,
That made no sense
It
at
makes
all. And
zero
like
sense.
Exxon was number one. I was like, how did they come to this conclusion?
Oh my god.
We think Exxon does great things for the
Yes.
planet, but Tesla.
Wow.
wow.
Yeah, I didn't follow that. But oh well, it's on sale right now.
Hey,
I
it's
would
on,
rather
it's on
buy
the
Tesla
S&P
stock
500
than-
for not listing Tesla. Like, they're the ones who are going to lose here. You know, Tesla's going to do just
That's
fine
true.
in the long term, and all the people who have invested in the S&P 500 are not going to be able to participate.
I'll be honest. I'm having trouble. I'm trying not to buy more Tesla.
Same. I've been incredibly tempted this week
Same.
to
Yeah.
just dump my entire Tesla fund into stock.
Ride that
But-
roller coaster.
I don't want to get a loan. I really don't. So it's a tough.
But
a tough
Drew-
call for me.
The interest on the loan versus the interest or the difference in
The gains.
appreciation and your gains. I don't know, man. If you have better discipline than me if you don't do that, because now's the time. You could take that as financial advice, but now's the time. Now's the time. Because these guys are
Yeah, I would-
ridiculous. It's so emotionally driven. Or not. Nick said a different word. It's politically driven. Yeah, maybe. But I don't want to get no more strikes, so I'm not saying that. It's for the record.
It's
But it is emotionally driven.
FPD, fully
Yeah.
politically driven, full political driving.
I will use a different word that's family friendly and say it's emotionally driven.
Okay.
And that means in the
FED.
short term, it's gonna feel funny, but by the time you guys take delivery of your Model 3 and Model Y, you guys are gonna be laughing to the bank.
Really? Well, that's soon.
No, but
I'm
long
guessing
term. I mean,
like
I'm
a
talking
year.
about in the
Yeah.
talking about in the scheme of you guys having your vehicles. Maybe more so towards Nick, because his is a 36-month time span there. I don't see that being a long term issue at all. This is the same stuff we see happen at Apple years ago. It's the same stuff. History repeats itself. The market is stupid, kind of predictable for us lower, scraping the bottom of the barrel here. We're not going to make billions off of this, but I think it's safe to say that we're going to get a good product out of it all the same. I think if you're an investor of such an industry, it's all going to be fine. And, ExxonMobil is leading the way. What can I say?
You
Cheers
led.
to
We love their phones. So good. No, I think it's hilarious because you're absolutely right. It is completely emotionally driven, and there's so much that people just let the news of the day dictate how they buy and sell. And if you actually look at Tesla's financials, I don't understand why anyone would sell right now unless they just really needed the cash for a very dire reason instantly. But like, they have less debt than anyone else. They have thicker margins than anyone else. They ramp faster than anyone else.
And they have
I'm just like,
longer line than anyone else. Like,
yeah, for real. It's insane that there's a lot of
It's-
people that are
it's
just like,
so
I
in
read
demand
something bad.
that they're considering stopping taking orders. What car manufacturer has considered just, oh yeah,
Ford.
oh,
They turned them all off.
okay, fair point. Touche.
Oh, Ford.
Oh,
But they're going to
Ford.
beat Tesla, though.
Somehow.
They said they're going to beat them. They don't know how they're going to beat them, but maybe they don't know how many Tesla's delivering. That would explain a lot. We're going to surpass Tesla in delivery. How many did they deliver? Oh, my God. Why did I say that? That was a terrible idea.
Wait,
I
I
don't
thought
think
they
we
just
can do
sold
that
like
much,
a few
but-
like roadsters or something.
Have you seen any lightnings, Mike?
I have not seen any yet, but I'm sure they'll see a few soon just because they're finally getting delivered right now. I look at every single truck I see on the road, and, well, that makes sense. I look closely at every single truck I see on the road.
Yes.
And
Looking for the bar?
none of them have the light bar or the fake grill. So, but I'm sure it'll come soon. I do see a lot of, what is it? Oh, goodness. Not the
Rivian.
EQS. Rivians, there's a lot of Lucids. I'm seeing a lot of Lucids now. Every single day,
Interesting.
I now see a different colored Lucid, which there's not really that many different colors, but
Yeah.
I think
blacks, the
statistically,
reds. I've seen a few
You're gonna
golds.
find Steve Wozniak in one of them.
I haven't seen Steve's yet.
That's
I know
true.
what his looks like. I think his is gold. I haven't seen a gold one since before he took delivery. So
Just drive up. If you see a gold one, drive up next to it and just throw $2 bills at him, and see how he responds.
immediately gets out of his car. Yeah,
The
I'm seeing-
software is very impressive.
I did see a Zoox test vehicle, not their the one that they're going to go to market with, but one of their technology testing vehicles, basically
Oh, okay.
like a RAV4 or something like that, or a Lexus that's
Uh-huh.
bulked up with all the sensors. I saw that in San Francisco recently, so that was pretty
Nice.
neat. Otherwise, the only other cool thing I've seen on the road, I recently went up to my hometown and I saw their police vehicle that is a Model 3, and that was
Cool.
pretty neat, seeing it in the flesh.
No, that's cool.
Did you make sure you get arrested so you can take a ride in the police vehicle?
I could have. I was in the mid or the left lane, and he was turning basically through the intersection. I could have made an illegal right turn over the other lane and followed him, and then maybe he would have arrested me, and then I could have let you know and how.
That would have been a great idea.
Is the supple vegan leather seat though? Does that meet your expectation of how you get transported to
Just
the?
interviewing him the whole time.
You gotta get someone like.
Have you tried the beta?
Have someone record it and hey, can we pause for the thumbnail?
Yeah.
Getting arrested.
No. Get your chest cam on me. Hold on. Turn this way.
Yeah.
There. Your body.
I
cam.
got arrested in a Model 3.
That
How would
would
I
do
even
well.
get that footage?
We'd get it on this.
No, but YouTube would
Sentry
be
mode.
like, I'm sorry,
That's
Mike.
it, Sentry
this,
mode.
this falls under our policy against spam and misinformation, so you can't.
Stop.
Oh no, they don't care about misinformation.
Okay, everyone talks about
you
misinformation. What's up with Mr. Information? Like,
No one asks about him.
Actually, she got married. She's Mrs. Information. now.
Mrs. Information.
She's a lot older. But there is a channel that I'm not going to name because I don't want to give them any credit.
us,
But there's a
Vivi.
channel that has uploaded. Yeah, it was me. But there's a channel that
It was me,
uploaded
Barry.
the same thumbnail and title like 8 times. That is just the Cybertruck is here. Like it's delivered. Or, like it's out now. And like they get way more views than my videos get because of course. It's very clickable. It's like, oh, the Cybertruck's out. It's here. It's finally here. I've never watched the video because I don't want to reward them for that. But they've made probably tens of thousands of dollars off of the same video title and thumbnail being posted over and over again.
So what you're saying
And
is
it's
you are in the
completely
wrong
false.
business.
It happened.
Yeah.
That's
Period.
what I'm
period.
saying.
Period.
I'm in the wrong
It
business.
happened. It's real. Yeah. No.
It's just the same photo, except
I'm
I
about
guess
to
one
literally-
is facing the other way.
It literally will cost you money to be honest. That's what I've learned in the YouTube space.
Yep.
If you try to be genuine and honest, you will make substantially less money than someone who clickbaits and is dishonest and tries to trick people. That is the media in a nutshell.
Welcome to post 2015 or whatever, whenever it all just went downhill from there. Thank you, CNN.
It might be a long-term thing. I'm not sure how long it's been going, but it's definitely, that's what I mean by like YouTube will gladly let misinformation videos get picked up by the algorithm, and they're like, well, this one has a lot of engagement. We'll push
God
it
forbid
everywhere.
my video poses a question almost a rhetorical question. All of a sudden, no, what's wrong with you, stupid boy? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That's against our policy. You can't do that. Nick,
You're just lucky we didn't strike you. Okay.
You're just lucky. Did you say you were looking at a Rivian?
Yeah, I've been looking at a Rivian. Scott's been trying
Nicholas!
to get me into it. I saw Sandy's videos on it. I'm like,
Monroe has a good way of talking, doesn't he?
he does. Like, okay, boys and girls,
That man
we're
is
gonna
just
look
like
at
everyone's favorite grandpa.
Yes.
Both my grandpas are dead, so I watch Sandy Monroe.
Oh my God.
Wow. Okay.
Guess mine are too, but who's flexing?
Weird flex. Okay.
Oh yeah, I have 3 dead grandpas. No, I'm kidding.
All my family's dead. Beat that.
Okay, Bruce Wayne.
On that note, you were watching Sandy Monroe, Nick, and what changed? Who's gonna live forever?
Please.
And-
Nick's parents are alive.
Holy jeez.
Wow.
Wow.
What did you
Wow.
see that convinced you? Was it the suspension or?
It's definitely not the
Just
cost.
Just the fact that it exists.
Yeah.
I'm worried
That's
about
a
the
pretty big
Cybertruck.
advantage.
Every morning I get up, I have this
Oh, he
poster
said
of it,
it.
full-size poster of the Cybertruck on my ceiling. And when I open my eyes, that's the first thing I see. And when I go to sleep, that's the last thing I see. And I have this little shrine in the corner of my house where we worship the Cybertruck because it is life. But no,
What?
He has triangle candles everywhere.
low
Wow.
polygon.
He blows his whistle
Here's-
twice a day.
5 times
Here's
a day,
an
actually.
interesting.
And we
proposal.
point towards Fremont. No, like I'm in the market for a new vehicle, right? And I'm still not convinced that the Model Y is like the best car, like for me.
Uh-huh.
We've been over this like was it last week? Did I get to talk about this last week? I can't remember.
Yeah, we did.
Like one of
About
my,
the off-roading stuff and the
Yeah.
potholes and.
yeah, one of my buddies, like, I don't know, man. Like, ooh, it looks it's a pretty fancy car to be trashing the way that I do, and it's a lot of. I don't know if Randy heard this, so perhaps I'll repeat this real briefly, but it's like the side of the roads around Starbase, which is where I'm doing most of my work, driving on it. They're very steep ditches followed by steep embankments. I've bottomed out my compact SUV a few times, and one of my buddies had a dual motor Model Y, a long range Model Y, and he bottomed it out quite a few times where I know I would have. Like it's not that big of a bump. Like I've seen way bigger bumps out there, and he bottomed it out. And it was like, and I'm just like, ooh. And the performance is an inch and some change lower than the long range. And so it's like, oh. And then the wheels on the long range or the performance are even more road tires than the long ranges, not off roading. It's like, ooh. And yeah, I looked at getting like a lift kit, and like there's one for like $2,500 that I think Mike sent me, but it isn't available for sale anymore. It's out of stock, and it's like, I don't know. And I don't know. The Rivian
Usage was super low.
The
so they
Rivian would
stopped
fit
it.
my lifestyle a lot better.
Adventure
But
boy.
A, it's not a Tesla, which means it's kind of a non-starter. And B, even if I ordered one right now, there's no guarantee it would come in the next sooner than the Cybertruck. So it's like I kind of wish I could go back in time and put a reservation down for a Rivian, because I think as they're coming out right now, I probably would have been like, if I had a Rivian reservation right now, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I think this would work, because the Rivian is still like a very much a luxury vehicle. Like it ain't no like Ford F-150 like base model trim, like crew cab. Like it's
very fancy.
Exactly. But at least it's like designed to handle a little bit more of the lifestyle that I have. I don't know.
Right.
But the SUV is nice, but I don't know. Ugh.
They haven't even started deliveries of those yet. But the one thing I
They
will
have.
just
They have.
Off-
They're going off the line for customers now.
I know, but that's different from deliveries. There's
No.
not been like a.
Yes.
The-
Customers are getting their R1Ss.
I haven't seen one yet. I'm checking the subreddits
Okay.
and stuff. I know that the CFO got one, but that's.
Well, I know
don't
that
count
too,
that.
but okay. I'll do
I'm
my
looking
research.
for
then.
like a. Yeah, thank you. I want to see if there has been one because I've been looking pretty closely. But there have been people ordering the adventure package of the R1T and getting assigned a VIN within a reasonable amount of time because there's some people that back out of their launch edition deliveries and then they'll basically just assign that launch edition to someone with a adventure package and that kind of thing. So it may not be like 2 years before taking delivery of a Rivian if you did order one, and it's still a refundable deposit, I believe. So best case, it might be a decent backup option if the Cybertruck is
Don't you say it.
time your lease
Don't you
ends.
say it. Don't you say it. Don't you say it.
We're not even entertaining that.
Don't
idea.
even entertain that thought. Randy, speak.
My only thing for you, Nick, about hopefully I can deter you from going down too far of a Rivian idea.
Okay, good.
Is
I need this.
the supercharger network.
But I'm going to be doing mostly home charging. And that's like,
It's true.
You will be plugging it in, but
but
that
Ford says the Electrify America network is the number one open charging network in the United States.
That's technically true. It's also the only open charging. Superchargers are the biggest, and it's not open. So
every time I decide that I'm gonna go outside of my 20-mile radius here, I always notice I'm seeing more red, pins, bloop, 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 and they keep putting in more
they make
charging
that sound.
stations. And at the end of the day, like the supercharging, just technology and everything that it can do for your Tesla is so light years beyond ahead of anybody else that even if everybody else starts rolling out their vehicles, say Rivian is now mass rolling out and you can order one and get it within a month, to
Wow,
your
that
specific.
would be cool.
Imagine that. I would still
That
say
would be amazing.
a truck is kind of meant to do a little bit more than just, stay on the road, do your to and from type of a thing. The toy, which is the vehicle, gets your interest and like, ooh, this is cool. But it's the network that makes you like, now you're hooked. That's the drug. And I just can't see
Yep.
myself letting go of the supercharging network as a whole. It's too ahead of its time. And those speeds alone, even
convinced that's-
they open it up for everybody. Okay, fine. Tesla's still gonna get those premium charging speeds up in front of anybody else, and
Probably.
you might be charging at home every day, Nick. But for those times you
Yeah.
need to just pause and top off, you're gonna spend $25 maybe,
Yep.
and you're gonna have a battery that's gonna last you a long time. Yeah, imagine that, 25, and you're good.
$25.
What's that like?
$25 as
Yeah.
opposed to 50 or 62 every other day.
Yeah.
Dude, I spent 70. Okay, get this. I have a. You guys know this, but for listeners or viewers, I'm watching my brother's vehicle right now, and it's an old 2008 Honda Accord, and I've been watching it while he's been gone for the last year, and
And by
every now and
watching
then I
it,
just
he
drive it.
looks down upon it from his Model 3 every day. He's like,
Actually, from my balcony up here, but also from the Model 3, yeah. But every now and then I drive it just to, keep the engine running, get the tires moving, because it's not
Yeah.
good to let a car sit for a long period of time. And I went to the gas station for the first time in a couple months for that vehicle, and I filled it up. And I spent over $70 on a Honda Accord.
Notice me and Mike's not being phased at all. We're like, is that bad? Is that what? Like,
That's normal. If not, that's a deal.
that's a deal over here where we're like, wow.
And
You only spent
okay,
$70?
so $70 outside of California. Yeah, you guys okay? Haha. But
We spent over 80 on our last fill up.
this
Wow.
is
We pay 200 every month or 200 plus every month.
this
You
hurts.
only have one gas car. Yeah, jeez.
Thanks,
Oh.
Obama.
Yeah, I would say the Rivian makes sense for Nick in these reasons. He's always going to be nearby a plug, at least where he lives.
He'll
And
charge off the Starship. It has a battery pack inside. Yeah.
he's always going to be driving around or nearby some type of plug, whether it's this house or something else. But
Yes.
he's going to be roving around taking pictures all day using the adventure vehicle or whatever he gets as a little base station. And if you're staying at Starbase, Nick, then it makes sense to get a Rivian in regards to it being so lifted high. It's not necessarily a truck in regards to like what a truck is defined as by the American public, but you also get cool things like a reinforced underbody shield and a bunch of other things that you can store a whole lot of cool camera equipment in.
Oh, yeah.
And
Gear tunnel.
yeah, and you still have the Electrify America network to use, and they're around all over the place. The con is that Rivian recommends you to only fill up about, I think, 75% or something like that for your battery. If you get the
Daily. Yeah.
if you get the regular large pack or whatever, you're only filling up to, I think, the large pack is 320 miles, so that's about 240 miles or something like that. So might as well just wait and get the standard pack if you're going to do that, which is going to come out, I think, in 2+ years or something like that for the R1T. Anyways, what I'm getting at is it's not a bad idea, which is why in the previous episode I said why not think about getting the e-Transit, because yeah, you're supporting Ford in a way, but it's got a increased ride height and I guess suspension as well. And it has all the miles you need, and you're just going to be plugging in anyways at home. And you don't really travel that much. So if you need a car to get you around that can combat crazy potholes, whether you're at Starbase or McGregor or KSC or anything else like that, you're going to need something that is rugged but doesn't necessarily need a lot of miles.
My turn.
Go ahead, Randy.
It's not the Cybertruck.
Very true, but the Cybertruck doesn't exist.
You're so right. I forgot about that. Randy.
Blasphemy!
Wait, the Cybertruck doesn't exist? I didn't look at pictures of it. I'm just going to go to the
I've
Google
touched
and
it with
say,
my own hands.
The production-ready
K.
Cybertruck does not exist.
I got
It
COVID
exists.
licking it.
The Google says it exists. Look at that. I'm looking at pictures
Is it in the room with you
of
now?
Jay Leno driving this thing.
Neither is the Model 3, but I could guarantee
exists.
that exists too, Drew.
Jay Leno driving the Cybertruck.
Well, yeah, if you take a look, it goes with it, looking pretty good.
That's Shapiro. That's not
Same thing. Same thing.
close enough. The
Shapiro-
downsides
One
are
goes like this when he drives, and the other one is like.
Well, yeah, Elon, he's going to be voting a certain way this time around.
well, yes. The
yes,
Electrify
of course.
America network is incredibly sparse in Nick's area. Unfortunately, there's
What are?
I just plugged in the Rivian for Brownsville, and
Yeah.
I'm not seeing that many CCS chargers
Yeah,
of
no.
any kind,
They
level
really
2
aren't.
or 3. So it would be a definitely charge from home, but that may be all charge. Like, I don't know anywhere else you could charge. Theoretically, it would take a while to get to. Yeah, I guess there's a charge point that's like. Geez, how far away? It's not close, but it's on the freeway.
It's on the freeway.
Yeah, it's like way out of Brownsville, so it's probably I'm still convinced Tesla's strongest argument for not getting a non-Tesla is the supercharging network still to this day. I side with Randy on that one just because there's, like, in my opinion, such lack of effort by the non-Tesla companies, because everyone just seems to fall back on, oh, Electrify America works, that's fine. and it probably does, but knowing that you have like a very large and very fast growing network of superchargers on Tesla's side, whereas with Ford or with Rivian or with Lucid, even all these other startups, is like you're relying on another third party to accommodate for your charging needs, because the other guys don't seem to work that diligently on building out the charge network, and I wish they would, because somehow Tesla's able to, keep operating expenses relatively low and still ramp up and still remain profitable while building out all these charge stations. I'm like, why can't they develop their own that can kind of provide their own set of advantages? If you charge your Ford at the Ford station, you get better rates, or it's plug-in charge, or better speeds and that kind of thing. And of course, it can still charge at EA stations, but just provide your own share of advantages. Same with Lucid. I mean, I think Randy and Nick are probably both the kind of guys that would rather the supercharger network be exclusive to Teslas and not open up, which is counterproductive in the grand scheme of transitioning to EVs. But in the short term, it's an incredibly good selling point to be like, our ecosystem.
That's my black card equivalent. This is where I agree with Nick for American Express. Oh, buddy. I got some bougie.
Right. Yeah. Everyone loves their like unique charger network that's just for me. And technically that's what Rivian wants to do. They've said with the Adventure Network is these are just for Rivian owners, but they haven't been building them out yet. So they already have high operating expenses. So it's like, yeah, I wish they would get going on that. I would feel a lot more comfortable getting a Rivian in the future, specifically like the R2 vehicle, if they end up building out the Adventure Network and you start seeing effort on their part. But it's not happening yet, and I don't know. I've talked to people in our community even that have taken delivery of the R1T, and they love it and they're happy with it, but they've said they're going to sell it as soon as the Cybertruck comes out.
Oh my goodness.
That's how I could see Nick, is like, don't look at the R1T as a replacement. It's a stopgap. It's like this vehicle fits your needs
it's
well.
It's the M1 MacBook Air to the eventual MacBook Pro that Nick is gonna get.
No,
right,
never.
It's the
Cybertruck.
Well, for all the reasons Mike listed, I think we can agree that the R1T fits the use case of your work better than the Model Y.
Way better than the Model Y. But also,
or you can get something less expensive and get the e-Transit, and you have more space to use for all your photography needs.
And tiny home is definitely something I was thinking.
You should get the Volkswagen.
Nope.
Yuck.
Nope.
Next topic. All right. Thank you.
If we're talking about less expensive, I mean, no,
that's not coming for 2 years or 3 years.
Yeah, we've got a ways to go till that.
I'm convinced nothing's coming for 2 or 3 years. We're just in this weird purgatory state until chips are rolling out again, and I don't know.
Yeah, the more I think about the supply chain and how Tesla is charging the Model Ys, not the batteries, but the cost, $60,000 for a standard range vehicle, the more and more I'm convinced, and trying my best to warn people. I am so confident that the first Cybertruck is going to be 6 figures with a little over 300 miles. I feel so strongly about that, and I think it's going to be the biggest disappointment of the Tesla fan base we see in a long, long time. Like, there's just going to be a massive number of people that are bummed and really upset and annoyed, and I'm trying my best to get expectations realistic, and so that people are ready for it when it happens. But Rivian, expect a big surge in orders when the Cybertruck final specs come out, because I think a lot of people might do that.
I got a question for you guys.
All right.
This is going to sting for some people on the panel here, but it's a conversation worth having. What's the next company that's not going to make it in the EV space?
Tesla, obviously. They got delisted from the S&P 500. I mean, they're toast. I saw the thumbnails. It says Tesla's doomed! ! With a picture of Elon going.
And it's your fault.
And it's our fault.
And it is our fault.
I'm going to predict Lordstown, I think.
But they just released 2 videos yesterday, Drew, about how the the endurance is coming because they endure.
Oh, I see. I guess the Lordstown couldn't endure the recession. But they keep delaying production, and they've had they had the Hindenburg report dropped on them, and their stock has definitely fallen the hardest. And even from day one, when we first found out about them, and they said they were going to charge 50 grand for their truck, I was like, "There's no way they could hit that price. It's so absurdly low." Ford can do it because they know they'll be bailed out no matter what. But yeah, Lordstown is at like a 90% down from their all-time. Or I guess it jumped up again, but close to 90% from their all-time high, which was not even a year ago. And I don't know. It's the more they just keep getting pushed back on their deliveries, and the fact that I don't think will be profitable on their first deliveries. They needed Foxconn to like buy out their factory in order to stay afloat and stuff. I'm like, it's just doesn't sound good to me. I predict probably Lordstown, or I guess Nicola's delivering now, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at a list. Like, there's Bollinger, there's Byton,
Bollinger.
there's Faraday
How is
Future.
Bollinger still
I don't know.
around?
Faraday
Canoe.
Future,
That's
Fisker.
my guess.
Canoe's
Drew.
probably leaving.
Canoe's the
Karma,
the next one to bite the dust.
Nicola, I guess.
Canoe technically already threw in the towel.
Well, they haven't thrown in the
Well,
towel. They've
They
admitted
threw in
that
the dish
things
towel,
look bleak.
not the full towel.
Well, that to me is just legal talk by saying, yeah, we're out. Like there.
The CEO came forward and said, "Our rumors of our death have been greatly exaggerated." So I took that as a glimmer of hope that they may have.
Now,
Did he
they may
actually
have
say
a
that?
future, but
I think they have a future no matter what. I
That's
mean,
funny.
I'm sure NASA's excited about using Canoe's structural, or not structural, but at least their product in some way, because they have a contract with them. So if anything, it'll live on as NASA's dedicated transport.
I know, but I don't want to get go through technicalities of Rivian will stick around, or I mean, like, just as they stand today, they all can't be golden eggs.
No.
Statistically, it's not going to work. So as they
Probably
live
not.
today, what do you guys think are the ones that are not all of them? Just what do you think the next one, the closest one? Or Drew made his case for why he thinks like having Foxconn buy them out, stuff like that. So Mike or Nick, do you agree with Drew, or do you have a different opinion of who's the next one to throw in the towel? GG's good game, I'm out. Who's the next one to just be like, all right, bit off more than I could chew? I don't count Nicholas in the running for anything because that it's already not going to be what they presented to the public of what
Okay,
they're
so I have
to be.
an odd one, and I think you guys might laugh at it at first, but it might make
Let's
sense
go.
just from a business perspective to kill it. The Polestar brand.
I think they're sticking
Well, I
around
just
for
disagree.
a while. Yeah, I disagree.
But why do you think Polestar?
Well, they're owned by Volvo, and Volvo needs as many electric cars on their roster as possible. So, it might make sense one day for them to close up the Polestar brand just to up their ratio for regulatory purposes of how many EVs they make versus not, like turn them all back into Volvos.
Maybe.
Be interesting. I think they actually stand more to benefit by having more spin-off brands and
It's kind of like
branding.
Acura and Honda.
right. Like I think they might be able to capture more of that like startup energy and do more of the direct to consumer sales if they try to do more spin-offs and just say, okay, we partially own this, but it's sort of its own thing. But you could be right. I mean, it's not impossible.
Probably not. I
Toyota
gave,
shut
like, 2
down
minutes to talk.
Scion. Like that
Thank
was
goodness.
What's your next bankruptcy prediction, Mike?
Is Canoe not an option to pick? Because that
It
is
is.
the option I will choose. Unfortunately,
You think they'll be next?
Hello, sadness, my old
I
friend.
think if I had a big megaphone and I could talk with any, like, the whole corporation, the whole industry, I would tell Apple to buy Canoe as soon as you can. Get them while they're hot. Get them while you still have all those engineers, whether you're going to use those engineers for your own self-driving thing, or you want to actually adapt their platform to something else, or even get some side money and use their multi-purpose delivery vehicle as your delivery vehicles for certain things.
Sure.
Going from semi-truck to whatever else. Whenever you need to ship product to a store or other reasons, use that.
Yeah.
I would think Canoe. It's hard to say because I don't really follow the other ones like Fisker or Bollinger. Bollinger has been very quiet about their B2 and B1.
And they've been around for a long time is the weird thing. I remember following them like 6-7 years ago.
Yeah, they've got some follow, or at least some. They have a lot of support because I think all they're doing is just R&D on their what's it called? Their really big chassis for big EV
flatbed
trucks or something else.
Yeah.
Byton and Faraday Future and Fisker and Karma all kind of funnel into like one section, I think, of like they've got pretty good investors, but it's all R&D at the end of the day. And so is Canoe, but at least Canoe has shown that they've gone to Gamma with their product. It's just they're a few feet from the finish line and they've broken their ankles. And so they're crawling, but their hands are getting all roughed up and it doesn't look like they're going to make it because their stomach is starting to get roughed up too. If you want to take this in a visceral manner. But
so we want Tim to pick them up and put them on their shoulders to get them to the finish line. Yeah, I think that brands would go hand in hand pretty well just because the lifestyle vehicle is very bizarre looking and weird. And Apple could have a vehicle or at least own a company that would be like thinking different, you know? Like, and Canoe has this big emphasis on using a external device for like your speedometer and your controls. Like you bring in the phone or whatever, and you plug it in. So Apple could easily attach CarPlay type functionality of like bring in your iPad, you know, dock it in your Canoe, and then that's your speedometer, and bring their software to that and be like, and this also will allow us to enable a autonomous vehicle. Because from what I've heard from Tim and when Apple talks about the car, it seems like they're almost more interested in the robotaxi stuff than they are selling a vehicle to customers. Lifestyle vehicle would be perfect for that because it could
be amazing.
Easily
just
like drop a
tiny little
smart
screen.
connector.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like it's not obtrusive to where it's taking up space of your view of the road, but it's big enough to where you can see what you need to see, like speedometer, maps, and all that. People already use their phone for maps too. So just include a speedometer on there and you're good.
Yeah. I think because Apple wants to enter the market with something different, I feel. They wouldn't want to just blend in with everybody else. Here's our take on a sedan or that kind of thing. So the Canoe would be far, far cheaper than buying out a company like Lucid, which is literally less than 1/30th of the price to buy out Canoe. And you'd have vehicles that you can easily try to convert into your robotaxi, ride-sharing service. And you could implement your own software and hardware to the Canoe vehicles very simply because they don't have a predetermined, like, it must be this display and this layout. Whereas, like, the Lucid Air has these kind of set up driver display and center console display, and Apple would have to kind of box CarPlay into what fits Lucid's interior design. Whereas with Canoe, it's kind of a blank canvas in terms of software. They can do whatever they want. So, yeah, I mean, Apple, even if it doesn't work out, you're only out $1 billion.
Yeah,
which
it's only $1 billion.
What's
Apple,
that
that's
to a god?
Some other guy spent 40-something billion. So what's $1 billion?
Yeah, for the price of one. How much was Instagram? I feel like this would be a third the price of Beats For a third, less than a third the price of Beats, you could get a whole EV brand, and people would probably take you serious about it. Just like Zoox and Waymo, they kind of are doing limited robotaxi runs in certain cities and jurisdictions. I could easily see Apple do that kind of thing. They could be like, we're starting out in Cupertino, and you can spot it's an Apple vehicle because it's the weird shape of the canoe and it seats 7, but it's not too big, and probably they have a lot of engineering work made out for how to mass produce that and stuff. So
Yeah,
I think it'd be great.
If I had billions and billions of dollars, I'd buy a canoe and definitely take it to the market if I could. If I had the means.
Yeah.
It is a really awesome idea.
I hope it comes out.
I think it's a whole lot smarter than Faraday Future, Fisker, and Karma and all that. Those are just rehashed ideas of a Tesla. This thing is different.
I agree. I have to agree. Like, I cannot get excited for any EV startup because some people will just email me ones like, "Have you seen this company? Check out this startup's cars."
There's one
and
we were
it's
talking
always
about like a year plus ago, Drew, and it's been wiped from the internet, or it's probably not, but it's really hard to find. And it was quite literally just like a carbon copy of Tesla with like, I think either a semi or the Cybertruck or the Model X or something close to that, or even the Model 3. I forget.
Yeah.
They're like
Very
all set
so
or
many.
something.
I can't find it
They
anymore.
all
I
blur
forget the
together.
name.
They all blur together, but it's basically just like generic electric crossover with some displays, but hey, buttons are still nice sometimes. So they throw in a couple buttons, and then it's like,
What a dial.
invest in our company. We hope to deliver this next year. And then they go away. And it's like, I cannot get excited for those. But when there's a startup that has a very unique and different concept that they're trying to implement, that gets me excited for the Apteras and the canoes and the just unique approaches that I'm like, okay, they're doing something different. And that
There's a
kinda
purpose to
stands
the
out.
design.
Right. As long as there's a purpose. Not weird for the sake of weird. Don't do the Avatar car. That's not what I'm saying. But if you do something different and weird that allows you to have a unique advantage over others, then I'm more into it. But we all gave our answers. How about you, Randy? What's your prediction of who's going out next?
I like your guys' answers. Hearing the cases to add diversity to it as well. I'm gonna give a different answer. I would say
Tesla.
the next one. Oh, plot twist, twist ending. I think Aptera.
Ooh.
Wow.
Wow. Someone's
Just
getting ejected.
rip
from this
my
show.
heart out.
I know.
Just cut it in half while you're at it.
I
disown you.
I know. I know. But
Why? What's your argument? I mean, they're not even publicly traded, so it's kind of hard to know what's going on.
because they're doing great things with the technology they're trying to do with solar, and to not give you
Yeah.
range anxiety and stuff like that. And I think the best course for them is to stop making their own vehicle and do like what you guys are all talking about, like have some way to be let there be an acquisition of some capacity where they have to team up with someone, the merger of someone else, whether it's a different startup like Rivian or really anybody, Canoe even. Say Apple takes Canoe, but before that happens, they also the only way I think they're just too small to thrive right now. In one thing that I actually do outside of Aptera with everyone else, I think things are moving so quickly that you kind of have to keep up, or you're just naturally going to just fall off the grid by the pace of how everything's heading. And I think what's going to really exploit that is the fact that legacy automakers are going to be doing their thing, and they can afford to just price you out and get bought out, or get a bailout if something goes awry. But these startups won't get the same love. So much like Canoe, maybe Aptera have bitten off more than they can chew. But what's cool is that you can see them, that they really, more so than on the product of the vehicle, they're focusing on getting all this stuff down with solar first. And I think that's what makes them really genuinely stand out from the rest. And they're being different, not for the sake of being different, but they're being different for the sake of making what they're really good at thrive and shine. And the only way that can probably survive is it's not going to work in this small little bubble of Aptera, but it's going to have to be integrated with somebody else, or somewhere along, someone has to buy their IPs, something to that caliber. They would be the next one, assuming all you guys are right on your own predictions in whatever order. If something as far out there as like what Nick's saying, that like, oh, Volvo just shuts them down, to Foxconn's like, no, we're not doing. It's all your guys' ranges right there, and that same lineup. I say Aptera won't make the cut because they are. Well, how'd you say? I don't know. They're same version. They're being true to their vision, and maybe it's just not the most news exciting thing when everyone else has scandals with Nikola or what, like all this other stuff that drives us forward. You got other little honest small companies that are just trying to really like, look at my little plant, it's growing, it's sprouting, and then someone's like, yep, I'm gonna put that in my garden now. So I don't think they'll just go as far out as die, but I think how they will go out of the game is someone will come and buy them out, especially because they're not public. Because they're not public, it's easier to make those types of deals and make stuff happen like that. So, and listen, I'm San Diego born and bred. I'm rooting for them, but maybe just they will live on in different ways.
It's hard to know because, we can't look at their balance sheets and figure out what their spending is like or how much cash they have on hand. But I feel like they're too niche for many people to be interested in buying them out because it's such a specific form of the market. It's like, okay, you want a car-like experience, but you're comfortable with a two-seater.
Yeah.
And also you're willing to go with 3 wheels instead of 4. Like that's a pretty narrow market as is. But I do think if Aptera does bring it to market, it would be the most popular two-seater in the world by far. Like the idea of making a vehicle that literally can drive around for free off of just solar, like
I don't know if it'll be the most popular two-seater because there's a lot of those like the Nissan Z, the Toyota Supra that are around. And I think this will be the most popular two-seater EV. But
yeah, well, that's all. I don't even consider the gas car. Those don't exist in my world. They're dying eventually. They'll go away, especially with gas prices like they are. I mean, the Aptera cost savings would be insane. Like, it's cheap. It's extremely cheap just compared to driving a Model 3. If they hit anywhere close to their efficiency numbers, it'll be like half the price or less per mile to charge it than a Model 3 would. And a Model 3 is already super cheap to charge. So compare that to a Supra or, Nissan Z. Like, you'll be saving 80% of what 90% of what you'd be spending on gas, then not to mention the solar package stuff. Like, I could see that just becoming extremely popular, even if it is like, okay, this isn't a family vehicle, it's not a sedan, so it's not going to sell at that kind of volume. But as far as two-seaters go, that's about as efficient as you can scientifically get, without, I don't know, converting into a single passenger EV or something like something even tinier. But I definitely love the idea, and I think that they've definitely grasped a huge market already of interested buyers. There's I think it was Chris who said that Aptera has more reservations than any other EV startup yet to deliver a vehicle.
Yeah, there's a reason why I've got a reservation in that company. It's because I believe in them, and also what they've laid out with how they're manufacturing it. It seems logical in regards to, like, we're not trying to produce 200 plus parts. We're trying to stay below that and also make it easy to piece together and also maintenance as well in a way. Or try to make it easy to maintenance, which is kind of hard because if you want easy to maintenance, you need more parts, right? Or maybe, I don't know, maybe they revolutionized that. I guess what I'm getting at is there's a reason why I've got a reservation in an Aptera versus a reservation in Canoo or Rivian. It's because I could see myself driving an Aptera to work and back, and the money savings sounds ludicrously amazing, but having a car that has solar panels on it that charge it up, I don't know. It's I want to
love-
believe it
I
exists
love-
or it will exist.
Yeah. I love them talking about the composites and the simplicity of the body being like 4 main parts. And just like, that's very Tesla-esque to be like, we're trying to minimize the amount of components and everything used so we can keep the cost production down and we can ramp up. And they got Monroe. They're working with Monroe.
True.
So I'm like, come on. Sandy, bring us home.
You can do it.
Let's do it.
Sandy.
Yeah.
But
Make it happen.
we all had different answers, which increases the likelihood that someone here today might be right.
Or just increases the
hopefully-
likelihood that we're all slightly wrong.
Obviously me.
Right. No, you all had decent answers. That was a good question, Randy. Thank you. But I guess we'll catch you all next week, hopefully with new estimated deliveries dates and oh my
One week
god,
closer.
I want to buy Tesla stock so bad right now.
Don't do it. It's going to keep going down.
I'm watching it tank right now, and I'm like, oh, you idiots! You're so dumb.
Fools. It's on sale. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Whoop.